Quick question, be honest. When you think about this year, does your chest feel a little tight? Maybe you had big plans in January, gym, grades, side hustle, glow up. And now it's December and instead of pride, you feel tired or numb. Or disappointed. I want you to know something first. You're not behind, you're just human. And today I want to show you how to close this year strong mentally, even if it feels like you dropped the ball. But there's one mistake most people make right now, and if you don't catch it, next year will feel exactly the same. Let's talk about that. Section 1. Stop rewriting the year as a failure. Here's what usually happens. The year ends and your brain turns into a highlights reel, but only of what went wrong. Failed exams, quit the habit, didn't post the content, burned out halfway through. So your brain labels the entire year as a failure. That's not reflection, that's emotional cherry picking. Real example, you didn't fail the year. You survived exam stress, scrolled way too much, learned what burnout feels like, and kept going anyway. That matters. Before we move forward, here's your first step. Backhand index pointing right, rename the year, not the year I failed, but something honest like the year I learned my limits or the year I realized what doesn't work. And in a second, I'll tell you why naming it correctly changes how your brain enters next year. Section 2. Do a 15-minute mental reset, not a life overhaul. Most productivity advice right now says, new year, new you. That's exhausting. You don't need a new personality. You need a reset. Here's a simple 15-minute exercise. No journaling aesthetic required. Split a page into 3 parts. What drained me this year? Be specific. Late night scrolling, overcommitting, trying to be perfect. What gave me energy? Even a little music while studying, walking alone. That 1 week you were consistent. What am I done tolerating? This one's powerful. Maybe it's self-talk, maybe it's comparison. Maybe it's saying yes when you mean no. This isn't about fixing everything, it's about clarity. And clarity is dangerous because once you see the patterns, you can't unsee them. But here's the part most people skip, and it's the reason they repeat the same year again. Section 3. Make peace with the version of you that quit. Let's talk about the version of you that gave up. The one who stopped studying. Stopped posting, stopped trying. Most people hate that version of themselves. But what if that version wasn't lazy, just overwhelmed? What if they quit because they didn't have the tools yet? If you end the year angry at yourself, you start the next one with shame. And shame kills consistency. So here's what I want you to do tonight. Backhand index pointing right, say this out loud. I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. Not as an excuse, as closure, because you can't build discipline on top of self-hatred. And in the next part, I'll show you how to rebuild confidence, even if your motivation is completely gone. Section 4. Shrink the finish line. This is where most people mess up. Right now you might be thinking, I'll start fresh in January. Dangerous thought. January is a concept. Tonight is real. Confidence doesn't come from big goals. It comes from keeping small promises. So instead of saying, I'll fix my life next year, try this. Backhand index pointing right. For the next 7 days, I'll do one thing daily. 5 minutes of revision. 1 page of writing. A short walk without your phone, that's it. Your brain doesn't need motivation, it needs proof. Proof that you're someone who finishes small things, and once you feel that shift, the year already ends differently. But there's one mental habit you must drop before the year ends, or it will follow you into January. Section 5. Break up with comparison before the countdown. End of year. Social media is brutal. Everyone's posting. Best year ever, leveling up. Watch me in 2025. And you're sitting there thinking, did I waste my life? Let me be clear, you're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, and it's costing you peace. Try this experiment for the next 48 hours. Backhand index pointing right, mute or log out of anything that triggers comparison. Not forever, just long enough to hear your own thoughts again, because growth doesn't happen loudly. It happens quietly when no one's watching. And in the final part, I'll tell you how to mentally close the year so it doesn't bleed into the next one. Section 6. Create a mental end credit scene. Most people never close chapters. They just drag them forward. Tonight or tomorrow, do this. Sit somewhere quiet, no phone, and answer one question. Backhand index pointing right. What am I proud of myself for surviving this year? Not achieving, surviving. Maybe you showed up when you wanted to quit. Maybe you asked for help. Maybe you're still here. That counts. Then say this, and yeah, it might feel awkward. This year is done, I release it. That's not motivational fluff, that's psychological closure. And when you give your brain an ending, it's finally ready for a beginning. Closing, so let's recap. You're not a failure, you're a work in progress. You don't need a new year, you need clarity. You don't need motivation, you need small wins. And you don't need to hate who you were to become who you're becoming. Here's your challenge. Backhand index pointing right, try one small reset tonight. Rename the year, write the list, keep one promise tomorrow. And if this video helped even a little, stay here. We're not chasing perfect, we're building steady. Let's close this year strong together.